NFR Extra follows all your favorite cowboys, interviews legends of rodeo, and talks to the best of country music. Follow Nevada Caldwell, Ryland Bentley, and Steve Godert every week as they delve deep into the stories behind the road to gold in Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo. It's revealing, comedic, and sometimes emotional. Find it on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts. NFR Extra. All dirt, all rodeo, all year.
This is NFR Extra, episode 55, and today we are hanging out with the Powell Brothers. This Texas country rock band is hard at work gaining the attention of country music fans across the country, and they are not afraid to travel, performing 160 tour dates across 22 states every year at small venues to giant sports stadiums.
The Powell Brothers really took the negative of a worldwide pandemic and flipped it to a positive. They have created many segments for the fans to follow along, even though they can't be in a fan-filled venue, creating one of my favorite segments of 5 at 5, covering bands such as the Beach Boys, Tom Petty, and the Beatles are just a few. Follow along as they talk to us about their social challenges and changes they've met throughout this year.
And we revisit our conversation with Easton Corbin when Rockin' Robbie Hodges and I talked to him last November about performing at the NFR, how he got his start in country music, gator hunting, and being the ultimate performer for the after rodeo party. But first, we have Ryland Bentley's Rodeo News of the Week.
This is Bryland's Bull, the Rodeo News of the Week.
PRCA Stat of the Week. Between June 29th and July 5th, 14 pro rodeo competitions paid out a collective $1.7 million. Garrett Hale was crowned as Cody Stampede's first steer roping champion. Bull rider Daley Mason splits the win with Dalen Swearingen at the world's oldest rodeo in Prescott, Arizona, which concluded July 5th. Reagan Smith following in family success with a win in Belle Fourche in the saddle bronc riding. Casey Field takes the win in Oakley, Utah. As we strap on our boots and load the rigs down, this is just the beginning.
120 of the best cowboys and barrel racers rode into Las Vegas last December and left $10 million richer. The chase for 2020 has already begun, and all champions are hungry for gold. Be sure to follow your favorite cowboys, barrel racers, and local rodeos all season long. It all leads to one place, the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. Learn more at NFRexperience.com. This is the NFR. This is Vegas.
Hi, I'm World Champion Jet Johnson, and this is NFR Extra.
The Powell Brothers are a country rock recording group from Houston, Texas, founded in 2014 by brothers Taylor and Blake Powell. With their unique blend of genre, thoughtful lyrics, and superb musicianship, the band has garnered a vast and diverse following. They have performed with the likes of John Party, Billy Currington, Mark Chestnut, and rodeo favorites Cody Johnson, plus many more NFR favorites. They have performed on the biggest rodeo stages in the country, including Rodeo Houston, and they are no stranger to the City of Lights, having performed at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas. Welcome, the Powell Brothers.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
How did you guys get going with this? How did the Powell, we'll kind of back into the Powell Brothers, but how did you two get into music?
I think it all started, our dad played bass at church on like Saturdays and Sundays. And so I think part of it was just wanting to hang out with dad on the weekends. And so we kind of picked up instruments, and it really was kind of, we didn't mean to do it for a living or like it become this much of our lives. It just like seemed like a fun thing to do at the time. But then I went from, just like picking up an instrument and learning. I think within 6 months, I had gotten offered to go on tour with like going and playing summer camps. And then I came back from that and I was being asked to play on people's records. And it just kept going. It just never stopped.
And I tagged along.
And
then here we are. So
took like a brief break, went to college, but then like we both dropped out to play it because we couldn't play enough music in college. And then we just, it really just, it started and just, we've never like stopped since that first day. And then at one point we decided to kind of go out and do our own music. We had at that point been touring for other people. We've been writing for other people. We've been playing on their records. And so we it kind of just made sense to try to do a record together.
Well, real quick. So when you say records, right? Like, where did you, whose records, or were there, I mean, whether it be, you know, people lower tier, upper tier, I mean, who are these individuals that you guys were helping out with? Any names that we may know, or just on the country music line?
I mean, I think like the guys we were playing with before we started our own thing were guys like Sam Riggs, Granger Smith, so Shane Smith,
and John
for a little bit, John Wolfe. So a lot of like several, we got to play with a whole lot of the guys in the Texas scene, but we also worked with a lot of folk artists. Tara and I toured with just doing folk music for like 2 years, backing up other singers. And I feel like you definitely would not have heard of a lot of those names. But like excellent, like incredible, like writers, like the craftsmanship is such at a high level.
And then before that, spent time out of New York and Connecticut working with indie rock bands up there. And
so we've kind of got to be on all different sides of the music scene, from being a crew guy, you know, bolting together truss and hanging lights, to, you know, being a runner, getting people from the airport, to every side of, you know, being on the stage, playing every instrument and being in a supporting role, being a music director in a band, and then ultimately like having our own band.
mm-hmm.
When you guys first got involved, was there a certain instrument you guys kind of leaned towards getting involved, or was it just like, I'm going to play the acoustic guitar?
I immediately got into like electric guitar because like grew up in Texas, like Stevie Ray Vaughan is king. And so like growing up immediately, it was wanting to play kind of the stuff that just seemed like the most challenging or like hardest to play thing. Can I do it?
And he got really good and I couldn't catch up. So I started playing drums, and which was a great move. And it was fantastic. But then, yeah, about, I don't know, 5 years. I mean, I went to college for drums. And what college did for me was say, you have to stop doing what you think you should do and do what you know you're made to do. And growing up, drums made sense, and I was good enough at it, so I had some success doing it. But writing songs was always what I felt I was supposed to do. So,
but I think a large part of it also had to do with Dad played bass, I was playing guitar, and then Tara was playing drums. So then we had a functional trio. We had a band we could perform with. But another like huge music influence for us was our uncle, who's like happens to be like Texas flat picking champion a couple of years.
Whoa.
And so like really killer bluegrass musician. A lot of his friends were really great. So getting to grow up with those guys was really cool. But whenever we get together for like Christmas or Thanksgiving, that's whenever we had our bluegrass band, and we would play like all the standards, but there's no drums in bluegrass. So Taylor had to learn how to play. He was pushed over to mandolin first, but then had to start picking up guitar and then banjo and like kind of all the, I feel like if you play bluegrass music, you have to play at least all of them.
And sing.
Not well. Yeah, and be able to sing.
How did you become the Powell Brothers? Was there some names you threw around? Or, I mean, like, was this like, let's just go with the Powell Brothers? How did that kind of come about?
I think it was, we threw around a bunch of names and we were like, none of these really are great, and none of them like really identify who we are. And just like having a name out there that like was authentic, it was just like, well, we'll just be ourselves.
It was very descriptive of who we were as people. So we went
like,
with that.
We promise we're a lot more creative with the other parts of what we do.
Hey, originality works, right? Like sometimes just the simplest thing is probably the most important piece. I mean, it makes it easier to, well, who are these guys? Well, they're the Powell Brothers. It's a lot easier to know than there's some sort of obscure name that you got to figure out.
Sometimes you try and be really clever and you realize the best lines are the simplest.
Well, I agree.
Get out of your own way. It all works out.
And he like says that so poetically as like the songwriter, and I just say, keep it simple, stupid.
If I read right on the website, you also have another member, Mike Bishop Smith.
Yes. Yeah. Our drummer and champion.
Yeah. He has a mullet right now, and it's like shaved on the sides, and we're like really proud of him. And
he's living his best life.
Yeah. And just the great, like Mike's wife reactments to the haircuts he's allowed to get because he plays drums for a living is so great.
Yeah.
It's really kept us going the last 2 months.
When did he make the trio? When did that happen?
Well, so Mike had played with us like previously he came to fill in for us for like 3 or 4 shows, ended up staying with us for about a year. He then took a staff job. He was working at a church, and then we convinced him eventually about it. He's been with us for maybe almost 2 years.
No, it's over a year. It's a little over a year.
Okay. So we finally, like, he was always one of those guys that, like, ever since we first started playing with him, he was just family, like, just totally get along. Like, he values the same things, like, in the music business that we do. And it's hard to find kind of like-minded people that kind of value things that are a lot of hard work and not noticed, but like we believe in to be the right way to do it. So when you find somebody who's like that, a great dude and a really good musician, like we wanted him, like we wanted him to be in our band forever since like the week we met him.
So does he, like, when you guys are doing music, having him come on board, did it kind of change the artistic approach, knowing that you have this other third mate that, like, when you're writing music or however it's performing, I mean, did he enhance that kind of overall sense for you?
Yeah. And so like we were a 4-piece band, and then we went to being a 3-piece band. And then our 4th band member we have a full-time car mechanic. But like going from a 4-piece to a 3-piece, it's only 3 guys. Like you do lose, having that extra person does make a pretty huge difference. So like to be able to sound big as just being 3 people, you have to play differently. You have to arrange stuff differently. You don't have like the gears you can go to having that extra person, because you're losing a vocal and an instrument.
So your music, I love your lyrics. I love kind of your approach to, it seems very attached to there's a lot of life within your stuff. It's not very kind of campy or cheesy type lyrics. It's got a lot of soul to it, right?
Thanks.
So, I love art, and I like that when people put something out there, they put it out there and they lay it out there for people to judge or however they want it, right? Just art can be objective or subjective. It just depends. When you're writing and when you guys are coming to music, what inspires you?
Oh my goodness, man.
Everything.
It comes from everywhere. I mean, there are songs that we have that where we, listening to Merle Haggard's song, and it was like, we want one of those. And then that little moment just takes you all the way, versus a lot of our songs are stories from nights on the road, conversations we've had with people that stuck with us.
There's like dumb jokes end up in there.
Movie quotes,
movies,
books, literally from anywhere we can get it. I don't think we're very picky. We just like, when you find inspiration, you grab it, you hang on to it, and you roll with it, and you take it as far as you can.
Is there an area, do you sometimes take a break to say, I want to go and refine these ideas, or how do you go about how does it go from, heart, mind, soul to paper? Like when does that happen? I mean, in this process?
Well, for me, a lot of lyric writing happens driving. Like if we're coming back from a show from West Texas to East Texas, and we have like a 7 or 8 hour drive, we'll be driving at 3 a.m. and I'm sitting there like dictating onto my phone. We've pulled over into gas stations to get ideas down. A lot of writing happens at home. Most of the songs live for probably a month or 2 of continual refinement. Sometimes the song, you have a really great spark of motivation and inspiration, and you get the core idea down, but then you kind of hit a wall, and that song isn't dead. You just kind of put it to the side, and you never know if you allow it to a month down the line or 3 weeks down the line, you might have the line that you've been waiting for come to you from anywhere if you're listening for it. And that spark can take the song from being mostly done to finished, and it can happen anytime. But we do believe that inspiration finds you working, luck finds you working. If you are spending the time and working on writing, even if it's not coming to you as fast as you wish it would, if you keep working, eventually you will find your way.
There's no way to beat putting hours in.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of success with this inspiration that you've found all over, and you've had 8 singles this far. Which one meant the most, or does one stand out more than the other?
I mean,
do you have a favorite?
I have a couple of favorites. the first one will always have a real soft spot. We had a song called Four Wheel Hotel, which was written about living out of our car on the road. And since then, we moved into a 6-wheel hotel, and now it's between 10 and 12, I believe, depending on what trailer we take.
Yeah. And I also think it took like 3 years of like doing this and like building those relationships to where people stop calling it 4-wheel motel.
Right. But like, I remember when
that was
we
a
were
great hurdle to get over.
We were in our 4-wheel hotel and we were driving from show to show, and we didn't have our trailer with us that day. And I remember I'm driving and I turn around and I see all of our suitcases were stacked in the middle seat at the back, and our 2 musicians were like scrunched up against the wall. And it was like, this is it. This is the real thing, the 4-wheel hotel. And we have since, thankfully, gotten a little more comfortable.
We toured in an SUV for a couple years. Yeah, but not a big one.
So I love that. The telling of that story is wonderful. And every time we sing it, looking back on that, Coming Home always means a lot to me. Is a song from our full-length album. So I think it spent 7 weeks in the top 20 on the Texas charts. That was super cool. And that's one of my favorite songs we've put out. Just the writing, the sentiment.
Yeah, for me, I like, we released a song called Evangeline, and it's about like a kind of a drunken couples fight that happened next to me at a bar I was getting a drink at. And I just think it's really funny that this kind of just conversation that got super out of control ended up on the radio.
Yeah. Well, and our new single, so we have a new single coming out July 1st, and it's called How It's Done. And literally like the spark of inspiration for that song, we were playing a show in San Antonio, and a fella came up to me after our set, and he was really sweet, but he had a lot to drink. And he comes up to me and says, "You guys, you got it. You got it. But I'll tell you what, the secret to success, you just got to keep digging. You got to keep digging until your nails are bleeding and you can't dig anymore. And then you just got to keep on digging further and further." And like, it was a great sentiment, and I received it, and it was fantastic. But the thing is, he went on like that for like 30 minutes. Like it was, and he like put his arm around me and like digging into my chest and like kept going. And it was a lot, but it
sparked inspiration
and seared into the memory. Like I'll never forget that conversation of just being like, "I get it, dude. I got to keep digging. Like I promise I will. What do I have to say to like get this to stop?" So yeah, that's the new single, How It's Done. I love it. I love stuff like that.
How do you get to this point where, kind of walk us through the working with the label, the side of these singles getting out there? Like how does this all come about from a business standpoint, where art meets the dollar, right? How does this come together for you guys? Or, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense, that question?
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, we're definitely a little different in that, like, we're still like, we're completely independent. So like our label, like all of our entities, like we own all of those with our partner, Chad. It's like a lot of it really is just, it's us three, Chad, Taylor, and I, and then the other guys who work for us, just hustling all day, every day. We do like, we'll use a radio promoter, but like it's really just, it's 5 dudes out of a barn just hustling all day, every day.
Yeah, going into the specifics, we could literally talk about for hours. It's
all
super
the like creative business practices we have to do to be able to pull this off, just being us.
But it's, I mean, it really at the end of the day, it just comes down to, with our team, building a strategy. We are very thoughtful about how we manage finances and accounting and yearly strategy, and forecasting. And basically, we have like quarterly meetings and we plan our singles, and we plan exactly how we're going to do it and how we're going to promote it and where we're going to promote it. We have different people we go through for distribution. But at the end of the day, it's all about how do we get the music heard? How do we continue to grow the name of the brand in an authentic way that is authentic to us?
Yeah. And the part of it too is we've kind of just like as a growing band, like just nobody's going to work harder for this like dream than we are. And so like, it's where we're at. It's just as much as we can kind of empower us and our guys to just outwork everybody we possibly can. That's kind of been what we've been after. And so it's really, we just set ourselves up in a way just to be able to grind out every day and like survive. And then, you know, good things do happen the more you're out there and working. And so, I mean, the whole thing is just like a grind and like, you know, work your butt off all day, every day, and like good things will happen. And that's what's happened.
Yeah. No, it's everything to promoting to radio through traditional avenues, creating or developing relationships with the different program directors and DJs,
just people.
It's where we play music, but we're in the people business. Is how we look at it.
That's what I always like. So we're more like we're in entertainment, but we're a hospitality company that provides entertainment.
Hold that thought, fellas. Let's take a break, and when we get back, we'll talk about digital distribution and what the Powell Brothers are doing with Cody Johnson during the pandemic from the barn.
In 2020, more than 7,000 kids will compete for the coveted 750 spots at the Junior World Finals in Las Vegas, presented by Yeti. Each qualifier will go head-to-head for more than $500,000 and a championship buckle in the biggest rodeo youth event in the country. This could be the first stop on the road to a pro rodeo card and a gold buckle in Vegas. Find out how your son or daughter can earn the right to compete against the best at the Junior World Finals, presented by Yeti.
Do you need a dose of social, a dash of insider info? Then the National Finals Rodeo Social Network is set up just for you. Get updates, insight, unique content, and much more on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. You can find us at Las Vegas NFR. And be sure to use hashtag WranglerNFR on your posts and tweets. There's something for all rodeo fans. This is the NFR. This is Vegas.
Hi, I'm world champion bull rider Sage Kimsey, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
All right, we're back with the Powell Brothers, country rock original music recording artists straight out of Houston, Texas. Welcome back.
Yes,
fellas.
sir.
Yeah.
So we were just talking a little bit about, you know, where your music's going, where it's been, and what is the importance of streaming music, and where are some of your platforms? You know, how did you get involved with them?
I think we really video's always been important to us, and we kind of knew that, like, you know, putting out video content is like definitely part of like the future and the age we're in now. And so we'd been building a video studio at our place for I think the past like 6 months. Mm-hmm. And then when all of this happened, we were very lucky in that we put ourselves in a really great place to have a great spot to shoot video. Like we had to like basically like from the ground up learn how to do all the streaming stuff. Like the day we got home from our last show, we all got on the phone and it was, hey, we all need to know everything we need to know about streaming and, you know, doing live concerts, you know, by tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And since we've like started, there's like a massive, like if we go back and like watch the first one to like the most recent video we've put out, like we started out, we live out in the middle of nowhere. So like we don't have like wired internet. So like we started out like buying burner cell phones and using up all the data plans. We could do 3 live streams per cell phone. And so we were doing that for like a month and a half, and then using like specific software to be able to upload our stream to one specific location. And then from there, it could split the stream and then go to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just like a lot of the tech challenges that had to happen from doing a live stream out in the middle of nowhere, then to like a miracle happening and somebody built a cell phone tower on our street and they had to run a fiber optic cable through our property, and they said they'd give us internet if they could do it.
Okay, so wait, you just talked about a company. Insane. So I mean, this is like in the podcast world, we work, you know, with a kind of it's almost like a distributor, right? That works in the middle for the podcast world and then connects to, you know, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. So what's that company you guys use? I mean, that's very interesting stuff, because that middlewoman, whoever it is the kind of the antithesis now of kind of how the media gets out there. What company do you guys use for that?
We go through Restream.
Yeah, Restream.
Wow. Yeah,
Restream, and they basically take your output and then you can send it to any or as many different platforms as you want.
And that's where Spotify comes in, right? I mean, is that kind of like for Spotify, or is it we're more talking about live stream, right? Is that?
Yeah, more live stream. So we're using most recently we did there's a guy named Cody Johnson who lives out here.
Kojo.
And we've been doing his live streams, and like, so we were like, just from our, you know, place out once again out in the middle of nowhere, we're streaming, you know, to his Facebook page, to like Wrangler, to like several different, I can't remember all the, he has like a list of like 5 or 6 different pages were all simultaneously showing this Cody Johnson show.
But yeah, I mean, as far as streaming goes, I think we've gone through several different groups, and it's all been relatively good. I mean, it's been crazy with the current situation with coronavirus, and most of the companies working from home. There has been a crazy delay in just how long it takes to sort through all of the songs, that, because like art is being made right now is much more than ever, because every artist is sitting at home with like trying to find an outlet.
Their only audience is online.
And so, and if you're trying to get music out right now, it is first of all, there's more art. Second of all, the companies who distribute art are all working from home.
We have had issues trying to push media or other like sources just not being able to get out on time, like delayed like 2 or 3 weeks on release, and it kind of just kept messing up stuff we're trying to release. So like doing the live stuff, like, you know, it's as soon as we hit live, like it's out there. And it's just kind of nice to be able to do something personal, like for a specific group of people, but also can be enjoyed by people like afterward.
So one of those live segments you guys have been doing and we've been following along is the YouTube segment, the 5 for 5. I don't know if it was the last one, but there was a Beatles and the Tom Petty. How fun are those?
It's super fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to do those.
And we've been able to take all of our live performance energies, and then, I mean, obviously everything gets canceled, so you can either sit and wait, or you find a way to be creative in that. And so we were able to channel a lot of our energy into doing these live performances, learning new music. It's awesome having complete control over every part of it, from video to audio.
But also like the hard part about that though is we have so much respect for so many of these artists, because we've done several 5 at 5 sets where like we did it and then we were like, this just isn't good enough. Like, no, like some of them I think we just will obsess over, and like doing 5 songs from certain 5 artists is just hard.
Yeah, we did a Michael Jackson song, and it was very stressful.
Yeah, we want to do a whole set of it, but it's like we're also doing it like, you know, the songs are live, so it's, you have to nail 5 songs back to back, which like isn't like, you know, that difficult. But whatever you're like a song you really, really respect and you're trying to nail that whole set, it's like, you know, how much, you know, we could put 3 weeks of rehearsing into kind of, you know, just 5 songs. And we feel like that's the work it would take to do justice to those songs.
Yeah, well, and there's something about like in a live performance, if a mistake happens, everything happens so fast that if you make a mistake, within 5 seconds it's gone and never to be heard from again. But if it's like streamed or on YouTube or what have you, you can go back and rewind and listen to that mistake and laugh at it. And like that stress, like not that anybody does that, because I don't know.
And you just keep laughing until you start crying. Like 20th take you've listened to it.
Love it.
Well, did this come about pre-coronavirus or during coronavirus?
We really started, it was like right when coronavirus started, I guess. Because we've been planning on doing video. We weren't really going to do live video though. We were just trying to do like a blog series, just, you know, be able to do a newsletter that's like more interesting. That was kind of what we were working on, and we kind of abandoned that and just started switching towards the live streams. We still are working on other like kind of like video content, but we've kind of been pretty consumed with doing the live streams and then trying to figure out kind of just what's next in between the constant booking and canceling of shows that's going on right now.
But I mean, it's amazing because the previous 6 months to coronavirus, we had been working on our studio space, trying to make it perfect for video. Things like, it's a massive room, painting the whole thing black took us like 4 days solid painting. Is brutal. But all these different things that really enhanced the space for doing video. And so we'd spent all this time trying to optimize. And in that moment, whenever we kind of got to a really good spot was when the coronavirus hit. And so we were able to, as a team, say, we've already done the work. We don't have to go through and do all these things. We've already put in the work. Now, I mean, there was obviously work to be done. We had to figure out a lot of things really quickly, but it was, I mean, the day after, the day the quarantine was announced, we were shooting video the next day and then releasing the day after. So we were very agile and able to be flexible in that moment, which I think is fantastic. But now the new thing is we're starting to do shows again. So for the 2 months or 3 months, however long it was, our entire rig was built out in our space. We weren't having to build a studio set, recording set, tear down, go play shows, come back, unload the trailer, rebuild it, do some shoots, tear it down, reload the trailer. Go. I mean, now we're doing that.
And now we're also now recording a record. So we're having to like completely rip up our entire rigs probably 4 times a week. In between doing shows and then all that stuff. And then facilitating other people coming in and doing streams, because we end up having to we pull all of our gear apart to make that happen too.
It's a busy time, all that to say.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
I guess so. We were talking about this on the break and just kind of going backwards. So it sounds like there's some unique ways to get your music out there, your art out there. You were talking about a greeting card. Can you talk a little bit more about that greeting card piece that the bands do? Like, I think it's unique with what you got to do today to promote yourself.
Well, I guess it had been going on for a while. Cause we'd heard about it cause, there was a comedian who, I can't remember the name of the website, but there's a website where you can go on there and you can basically just pay a set fee. And then a celebrity will basically just record a video for you. Like, if you want to have your favorite actor, like say happy birthday to your mom or whatever, they have that website. And I remember there's some comedian who asked for $500,000 to say happy birthday. That's we'd heard about it because of that news article about it. But that it was then whenever this started happening, I know a lot of singers in our scene started saying, hey, we'll sing a song to your significant other on birthday or whatever, or say hi. And so I it was funny to see a lot of, well, not funny necessarily, but just it was cool to see people finding other ways to make money and then
and connect to people.
Yeah,
so that connection is a super cool thing.
Yeah, that because that's totally gone. Even doing these streams, you're playing to a wall. Most of them are going on in a living room or a garage. So playing music, I feel most of so much of our career is it's music and then meeting people and spending time with people, and that's a huge part of it. And that completely removed from our lives, it does just kind of change the balance of everything. So finding those ways to make up the interaction, whether it's the kind of live streams that are more acoustic, where you're more just kind of talking and answering questions. I've seen a lot of people do the online phone calls where they have they'll do pick 10, 15 people and play a private stream just for those people, or doing membership things on their websites where they release content constantly. People have been getting creative, and I don't think nobody's hit where the future is or where it's going. I don't think we've seen that at least on a big scale yet, but something is going to change forever in the scene. Everybody's kind of just waiting to see who's going to figure it out.
Yeah, something's got to give, and I think of, because I work on the digital marketing side. And if you go back to the 90s, right, if you're in college and you're talking about marketing, you're like, well, in 20 years, there's going to be every single tool that you ever wanted to do for marketing, but yet it still won't move the needle, right? Or if it does, it's got to be the content, which today, if you think about for an artist, you can do all, as you guys are kind of laying this out, you're not having to pay some big production company to do all this stuff. You guys are doing it, right? The capabilities are there. It always follows back on the art, I think. I mean, it really falls back on, clearly you guys have art, you have followers, you have listeners, and we're going to dive into some of that stuff here in the next interviews. So with that being said, so touring, right? You guys tour. Let's talk about some of where you get out there in the country. Where's some of your favorite cities? What's probably one of your, besides Vegas? Where's some of your favorite areas?
Las Vegas.
Where's some favorite areas you guys like to perform at, or you have consistently?
I love Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yeah,
totally blown away by Coeur d'Alene. Jackson Hole was super fun.
Where was Utah?
Park City.
Yeah, Park City, Utah. Like I just knew nothing. Like Idaho was the same. Like I just didn't know anything about Idaho. Like I think all I knew about it was from like a movie where they just show like what is it? Like a tumbleweed just like blowing through a field. And you're like, that's Idaho.
I feel like that's Wyoming.
Oh, that's Wyoming. Never mind. Yeah. But just like, some of those like states, like I've just, never been to, and you drive out there and you're like, wow, it's like gorgeous. Like, I don't think I'd want anybody to know about this either.
Yeah. We've done some work in like Northern California, like Sacramento.
Playing
Napa.
Playing in Napa is
cool.
fun. We have a couple times gone and like just played for bottles of wine in Napa and no regrets,
But like even like so right before the corona hit, like so when everything was starting to really ramp up, we were in Chicago. And people started realizing this is a big deal, and there were people out, but it was not Chicago. It was definitely like Chicago was getting a little concerned. And we did a 2-night stay in Chicago, and then we were driving to Detroit for a 2-night stay in Detroit. When we were on our way to Detroit, we got a call saying Detroit just canceled. We're shutting things down. But on the way, we had stopped in this town in Michigan called Grand Haven.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended up spending a day there. And like the craziest group of events, we were like eating lunch, and I saw this outdoor pavilion stage, and I was like, this is cool. I found the sign for it. I took a picture. We ended up meeting the talent buyer for that stage, and it turns out
like the owner invited us over to his other music venue.
Yeah but it's like we ended up getting to meet the owner of this venue. We got to meet an artist who's from Boston, which is where we went to college, so we
it's like a really cool listening room in like a random town that I just Googled like on the way. And so it's like we always, if you look hard enough, there's always something really cool. Like, I mean, it's a huge, like,
it's a rich country. There's
a lot of like cool stuff, and there's a lot of cool people everywhere. And like, you just kind of, I feel like we're kind of always like story hunting to a degree. And just, like there's cool parts of town everywhere.
You guys have played at some pretty cool sporting events.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate. Yeah.
So now you've, Major League Baseball, NHL, obviously NFR, Las Vegas Bowl and either. What do you take advantage when you go to these places how does it work? This is, I like the business side of this. How do you work the angle that, you're going to go play the, national anthem, something like that. You get your foot in the door, you get your name out there.
Right.
How do you leverage the other side to go play at certain areas during these big events? How does that work for you guys?
Well, like a lot of it was, and this is kind of funny. Like we literally, like we really started doing the games because we're just workaholics. Like we feel like we're supposed to be working all day, every day. And so we figured out that if we go sing a national anthem, we're technically doing something like productive, but we also then get a really great excuse to like, we're already here. We might as well stay and watch the game. And so like, it really just started out as like, it was just fun for us. And it was like, on a day where we didn't have a show booked, instead of like, trying to, I was always trying to find a way to keep the schedule full, and it kind of like would space out a day where like, we're already playing in this town. And some of those places they'll tweet about our show even. But it always looks good if you're coming to town. It's like, hey, we're playing, we want to book a show at your venue. Oh, we're singing the national anthem the night before at the game, or like we'll be singing the national anthem, at the game, and then kind of advertises like the after party, like we'll be singing the anthem, and then we'll be at this bar the night right after the game.
Well, a lot of stadiums, like Ranger Stadium in Arlington, there is a bar literally connected to the stadium that has a big stage. I think there's a couple of bars, honestly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like you can go sing the anthem, and then after party there, and then like if we're playing in a place like Milwaukee or what have you, I mean, it's
But then like a lot of places too, like I guess you're kind of saying, it's like they have venues like inside the stadium. So like with the Astros, we do a lot of stuff where like we'll play like in center field, like after the game's over. We usually do that like at least once a year. But then like World Series, we got to play. They had like a stage out that the street parties like kind of outside the stadium before the game. So we got to play out there. And then
I mean, Cowboys, they have a big open lawn with a massive stage, and so we'll do pregame parties. That I think 2 years ago when they had the Eagles it was the Seahawks for the playoffs. We got to play the pregame party, which is super cool.
There's wow. These big crowds kind of already at the event, just waiting to get into the stadium, and we're they kind of there's a stage right there. Like people, if you want to buy beer, you're going to kind of have to listen to at least a song of ours.
Yeah, and like what better way to be introduced to a whole group of people than by your favorite sports team? Like it's such a powerful thing. It's such a great way to.
And but a lot of it really is just, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really fun to get to do that stuff.
And it's a pleasure to work with. All the people involved in those organizations are amazing.
Well, let's talk about one of your experiences, Houston, right? 2019 World Series. How was that with, Houston Astros? How was that? How did that go down?
It was awesome. But do you know who Paul Wall is by chance?
Yes.
He's a Houston rapper. He's very famous for the grills.
That's
his contribution to the world, I think. So like we did a thing, and he came, like we were playing, and then Paul Wall came and did like 5 songs like in between like our sets, and it was really awesome. It was one of the more Houston things we've ever gotten to be a part of. And so it's just like the group of people we were like with that day was just such a like. It's just the people that you'd be hanging out with. It's like I'd never meet or get to talk with a lot of people that we got to talk to that day. And it was because of music and baseball. And like we were drinking beers with a bunch of Washington fans out in like left field most of the game. It's like we never like, and super interesting, cool people. Never would have been friends with them.
When you think about it this way, like while it would have been fantastic had Houston won that series.
Yeah, I paid for Game 7 tickets. I'm still bitter.
While it would have been great, here's the thing: we play in DC, and all of the DC fans we met were awesome, and so now
we're still friends, even though
it's still painful. But I mean, the thing is, like we can stroll into DC, and if we see a Nationals hat, we can strike up a conversation, and all of a sudden we're friends. Like that connecting point that you can have with people, especially like that's a very intense one.
I was not super happy, but I was like a part of the Nationals' first World Series ever.
Yeah. And happy for the fan base because they were sweet. They were like just on the whole.
It was also funny. People. We had a show that night, and I bought World Series tickets, and me and our manager went to the World Series, and Taylor went and did the show as the Powell brother.
It was great. We thought about like getting our merchandise and like crossing out the S and just have like a run of Powell brother merch.
How has it been getting your foot in the door in festivals? Because what we've noticed from an event side here at Las Vegas Events is, festivals have exploded over the country. I mean, seems like there's a festival. Well, I mean, not right now, but I mean, there's a festival almost like every weekend. How do you go about trying to get your foot in those doors to go play at festivals?
I think a lot of stuff I think kind of has to do with each other, but like a lot of it's just like us constantly like being busy and constantly working and just showing constant like over our whole like career since we started this, like we're going to be out there working. Like if any talent buyer or whatever, if anybody wants to take a chance on us, like they're like we're not going to let them down by not working hard enough. And so it's like that never ends. And so I think venues or the festivals, like they see that like we're gonna come work regardless, and if we can't be on the festival this year, we're gonna come out there and we're gonna play a show nearby, and we're gonna invite them out there and see if we can meet them, and like we're just gonna keep coming back until they eventually say like, hey, will y'all be on our festival? And so there's a lot of festivals that I think we're getting on this year, and that's kind of exactly what happened is we booked tours that took us through smaller venues in the area and just built up a reputation, went in there and just, be nice to everybody, work our butts off, and just hope that that kind of reputation helps open that next store and that next store.
It's all about the hustle, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
hustle and be nice to everybody.
Yeah, that kindness that goes a long ways, that's for sure.
That's kind of like, if there's a secret, that's all it is, I think.
So kind of jumping gears a little bit, you guys have some Christmas songs, but I've only seen two. Was there a reason, or am I just missing it?
We put out a Christmas single, just kind of like, I don't know how many we've done, but
it's 2, maybe 3, but I think 2. Honestly, I think we've gotten so busy.
Because it was always fun. We would do like a Christmas video and like kind of do our own arrangement on like a classic Christmas song. And I think the last 2 years we haven't done them.
We've been so, I mean, like honestly, this Corona situation is the first time we've spent more than a week in one place in probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
That is very similar to our rodeo world. So
yeah,
I definitely understand that.
So yeah, it's just totally. No, now we need to shoot all of our Christmas videos for the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's the summer project. Is the Christmas project.
Yeah, no, we love doing this, and those also give us an excuse to. We're just music nerds, and while we're in a genre where we're kind of putting out music consistently, like in a specific genre. Like whenever we do those Christmas things or something special, we can really go anywhere we want to with it. And I know we've definitely kind of taken like a Ray Charles, kind of gotten to all the things that we love kind of about jazz or like R&B or blues music. Like we get to more put into those songs because they're just separate from the CDs we put out.
Like for I'll Be Home for Christmas. How does this work on the side of submitting that and, attaching yourself to a song that's probably been sang by a lot of different people?
Right. I'm pretty sure a lot of the songs that we've done at least are public domain by now.
Yeah, they're just old enough. We're also like we don't sell those. So I mean, I don't. We just don't try to monetize anything that we don't write. We never try to monetize, which I think keeps us out of the clear. But like we do also. I think when it comes to the legal stuff, like our business partner, that's his kind of ball game. That's his background. So whenever it comes to anything like that, we always reach out to somebody more knowledgeable.
Have a good team.
Yeah, we do the art side, all of the rules and stuff. We double check with somebody who takes that side of their lives as seriously as we take music. Well,
once again though, it just gives you this other tool, right, to promote you, and shows kind of this 360 range that you have in music and the lighter side of things or whatever it is you can get after. I mean, you can do these things, and it just shows that you're willing to kind of go out there and kind of just show a little bit more art than what you just normally do in
For us, it's just fun. It gives us that outlet to just do something different that doesn't have to fit with an image. Like special projects are really like in Christmas, like that's the most exciting part about it is like this doesn't have to connect to anything we've ever done before. Like this can just be an exercise in making this song the greatest we think we could do it today.
What kind of music you've been crafting? I mean, has your music taken a different kind of approach to things, or how is it crafting for? I know you got an album coming out July 1, but what other things have you been kind of working on when it comes to your music, to the art of your music, not just like doing live or in the shed or anything like that? Is there some new pieces that you see happening down the road?
Oh, definitely. Like right now, I think that's as we're starting to see stuff kind of come back, or at least like there's plans of coming back now. We have been working on the record, and a lot of it, we spent a lot of our time just kind of keeping up and getting content out. Like the new record is like, I think completely changing kind of everything we're doing. I think that's going to change the kind of the overall image, and like we're definitely kind of, quarantine has pushed us to a new place or a new season in life. And like all of that's like kind of happening right now. And so it's like a pretty exciting time. But like we're changing up the live show. I mean, how we do everything from like our networking of our like live gear to like, all the sounds. But we've been going through with our engineer's been over here a lot, and we've really been dialing in kind of sounds, being more intentional about, I mean, kind of this like the Corona thing's just given us like a good time to really work on stuff, at being able to like be home and like work on something continuously without having to leave and like go work and then come back. Like, it's just, we've never had an opportunity to approach music like this. It's always been on and off the road constantly, like our entire lives. So it's just giving us a time to approach everything differently. And I think we're all just trying to take advantage of this time, because this isn't something we normally get.
And won't last.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you guys are, keeping the ball rolling, doing some great things with what you have. I love the evolution of just using what you have from a studio, your relationship with Kojo, the new music coming out. Where can, just kind of a little plug here for you guys, where can people find some more information about the Powell Brothers?
Our website is powellbrothersmusic.com. We are on all forms of social media. @Brothers Powell is the tag, but the easiest way, if you Google the Powell Brothers, we come right up.
It took years, but we are now the first thing that comes up. No more lacrosse videos. You'll get us.
Well, thank you guys. We really appreciate this. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for letting us be a part. It's a pleasure.
To celebrate the 35th anniversary of the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, LVE and PRCA present the top 35 most memorable moments.
Roy Cooper beat the best in the world and Father Time in his record-setting tie-down roping career.
Stop good. Look out now. This is in style. Yes, sir. Oh, what's it all about?
Cooper won a record-tying 4th NFR tie-down roping average championship in 1995 and one of the Super Loopers' 19 NFR appearances in his signature event. One of only 6 Cowboys ever to win a world championship in his rookie season, and the winner of a rare rodeo Triple Crown in 1983. Roy won that 4th NFR average title in Vegas at the ripe old age of 40. Cooper was the first rodeo cowboy ever to win $2 million in his career and owns a grand total of 8 gold buckles, including the coveted world champion all-around cowboy crown. But his greatest legacy may be his sons. All 3, Clint, Cliff, and Tuff, have qualified to compete at Thomas & Mack, and Tuff is a 4-time world champion. Roy Cooper was inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame in the inaugural class of 1979.
Each year at Cowboy Christmas, more than 250,000 country western shoppers mingle with NFR contestants Flint Rasmussen and the best junior cowboys and cowgirls in the world. There's no place in sports where your rodeo heroes find time to meet and greet their fans 9 to 5 every day. Cowboy Christmas. It's shopping, live music, rodeo, and so much more. Book your reservations and find out more at NFRexperience.com. Cowboy Christmas. It's all here.
Hi, I'm Boyd Paul Hamus, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
Here we are with American country singer Easton Corbin. Welcome to the NFR Extra podcast, Easton.
Hey, man. What's up, guys? You doing all right?
Yeah, you bet, Easton. Thanks so much. I know you're pretty busy. It's a pretty busy time of year for you right now, ain't it?
No, thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.
How's Nashville?
Man, it's good. Good. It's a little wet and rainy today, but it's supposed to cool down here, I guess, for Halloween. I don't know.
Well, that's good. I guess
Nashville. Man, love that place. How'd you get into singing? How'd you get into country music? I mean, Nashville is a given, but how'd you take it this far?
Man, first of all, I've always loved country music. I mean, I just always have, and it's kind of one of those things where it's always been a part of my life. I guess I don't know. My grandpa was always a singer. My dad loved singing and things like that, and so it was just kind of a natural thing to get into, I guess, and. Man, it's something I've always loved, especially traditional country music. I love, my favorites are Keith Whitley and George Jones and Merle Haggard and folks like that. So, I've just always loved it.
I just talking to you, man. I've heard you sing. I've seen all kinds of stuff of your work, but you got a great voice, man. I tell you, Robbie kind of said you sound a little bit like George Strait.
Yeah, you got a little of that, and we sure don't mind that.
I wish I had his money, I can tell you.
You're heading there, I promise you.
Yeah, we hear you.
So, I hope you're right.
I think I am. A lot of rodeo fans are Easton Corbin fans. It's because of where you're from down there in Florida, being in the South. You're kind of one of us, and you sure act like it, and we love it when we see you.
Well, and again, I love putting on the show, but the after show party is one of my favorites, man. You just get down there and hang out with your buddies.
Yeah.
And again, your fans, and it's just about the hang, man. That's as much as anything,
Ain't no party till the after party.
Right. So what do you think it's like being, because you are of course we have George Strait, but he's kind of in his retirement years. What's it like being the new rodeo singer guy? Because you're at so many rodeos we go to. If you look on our sheets, we see that. So tell everybody kind of what it's like being the new rodeo, the after party singer.
Man, it's a lot of fun. Shoot, I love it, man. And we just talked about seeing us at Jackson down there, Jackson Rodeo, and rodeos are some of my favorite places to play. I mean, they just are. I grew up going to them and things like that, and they're just. I mean, they're my people. You're my people, and I love it. And then there's no events like it. They're one of a kind, and just some of my favorite.
Well, that is great, and you're one of us too, and that's why we love having you. When I see that name on them sheets when we're doing the rodeos and stuff. So tell us a little about where you from, or how'd you grow up in this? Like you was talking about with country music. So what are some hobbies you like to do and stuff? Because I'm sure it coincides with the rodeo fans.
Oh yeah, man. I grew up in North Florida and around Trenton, a little place called Trenton, Florida, and I always say Gainesville just because that's about the closest place everybody might know, But I'm still about 45 minutes or an hour from Gainesville. And, man, I grew up on a small cattle farm there. I grew up showing cattle and with 4-H and FFA and things like that. So a lot of people don't realize Florida's pretty agriculture.
Oh, yeah.
And they always think about Disney World and the beach and Miami and, and in Florida is that, some of it, but there's a lot more to Florida than just that. It's a pretty big cattle producer and agriculture. One of my best friends, he farms for full time for a living, and so that's really how I grew up. And of course, some of my hobbies, I love to hunt and fish and things like that. And of course, I just said I was down there last weekend gator hunting. So. Anything outdoors.
Yeah. Were y'all swamp buggying or airboating?
Man, we were down. I was over in Palatka. Jacksonville, and it was just we got on St. John's River out there, and some buddies of mine over there at the little place. It's called God's Country Outfitters.
Nice.
And
I like the name.
RT and Charles Harrington over there. In fact, they'll be out at the NFR this year.
Nice.
Good. You have to bring them by and introduce them. That's pretty cool.
I would love to go gator hunting.
I think their dad's roping out there.
Oh, at the
team roping series. Yeah, World Series.
That's awesome.
They were ropers back in the day when they were growing up. Their dad still ropes and stuff out there.
I got you. Is that near Green Cove? Is that where kind of out that way?
Yeah, it's right by Green Cove over there.
Yeah, by Whitey's Fish Camp.
So obviously, Easton, you're painting a good picture of your life growing up. You've been around the Western lifestyle over in Florida. How cool was it to get the call, or how does it feel to get the call to sing the national anthem at the big daddy of them all, the Super Bowl of all rodeos?
Oh, dude, it's an honor, and I love doing it. And anytime we get to the national anthem, it's an honor, to be asked, and then on top of that, to be, at the NFR finals out there. I mean, it's just such a cool experience, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, definitely the national anthem is one of those songs that it's definitely a challenge. It's not easy, but it's an honor to be able to do that.
I'm just throwing this out there because we deal with the national anthem a lot, and what you're saying there, the singing part, man, honestly, that's just my only advice being around the national anthem.
Don't start too high.
Exactly. Just sing it from your heart.
Again, you better have your pitch pipe out there. Don't start too high, because if you do, you're in trouble.
Yes, because that last one will get you.
Yeah, you got to build up. Rockets, red flare. That's for. I mean, you're right. I mean, singing that thing. I'm no singer, but just watching people try to perform it, it's a task, man. I mean, I don't know who you are, honestly.
Yeah. I wonder. I bet it's got to be
fun,
weird,
man.
Yeah. So,
have you ever sang it at any other events like NASCAR or football games and stuff like that, or is this your big go at it?
No, man, we've done it at NASCAR. We've done it PBR. We've done. I sang in Austin. I think last year.
Beautiful.
And we've done it some NFL stuff. The Titans here. The Colts. So man, we've done it a few places, and again, it's a lot of fun.
You're a seasoned national anthem singer. How many years have you been doing the NFR?
It's probably 6 years, maybe.
Nice. Wow. That's awesome.
Something like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time. It's one of those things where I always look forward to it. It's like, hey, we're doing the NFR in December. There's no question about it.
Man.
As long as they'll have us back.
So I want to back up real quick because we're all in the moment of the night, right? How is it at Mirage? Because that place, we're always working. We're doing the rodeo. There's no downtime for us. But from the pictures and the posts and everything, that place looks bananas for rodeo and country music. How is it performing there?
Oh, dude, it's great. I mean, it's always packed every year. The crowd out there is always on fire, man. And it's awesome. It's such a fun time.
That venue there is so neat. The way they have it set up right in the middle. Also, I highly recommend anybody listening come hear it because there's not a bad seat, and you won't be sitting
close enough to touch Easton, right?
Yes, but don't. But I guess he may shake your hand. I'm sure he's cool because he's from the South, so he's going to be cool. So.
Hey, Easton, we also wanted to give big thanks to Decker from Army F, who connected us with
Steve,
you.
He's great, man. Dude, he's one of my favorite folks, man. He's great.
Well, from what we understand, because we had you scheduled for next week, but you had to bump us for something a little more important. I hear you're going turkey hunting?
Oh, yeah, man. Well, we're actually going it's a deer hunt out in Kansas. They raffled it off, or not raffled it off, but they did a auction, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
It's a Turkey Federation show here in Nashville. And but it's a deer hunt, actually.
Nice.
That's what they told me. It's a deer hunt. Unless I get out there and there's turkeys, I don't know. So we'll see.
Shoot it. What part
of man? That's all I hear.
What part of Kansas is it? Are you?
Man, I don't know exactly. I think they call it the Hooray Ranch or something like that out there.
I got you.
I might be missaying it. The Hooray or Hooray Ranch.
Right on. Yeah. That's good. Boy, there's a lot of big deer out there. You're going to have a good time out there. I love it.
Well, I know
you're a hunter.
In Kansas.
Yes, I know. I dodge them a lot driving through there.
Well, Easton, thank you, Easton, for coming on this show.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
We want to thank Blake and Taylor Powell from the Powell Brothers for visiting us on NFR Extra today. And stay tuned for episode 56 with WPRA CEO Doreen Wintermute and stock contractor Mesa Pate, owner of Famous Bull Highway 12. Want to experience more of the NFR? Then visit NFRexperience.com. And we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've been hearing on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe. NFR Extra.
All dirt.
All rodeo.
All year.
Gotta make it out to Vegas, where the big boys roam, with the rovers and the racers and the bulls and the broncs, and the ladies in the skin-tight wranglers and the cowboy